everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be discussing about the last part of the proof of the sum and difference identities. However, before I watch any further, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any of my videos, and don't forget to hit the like button and share this link to your friends. In my previous videos, I've shown you about the proof of the sum and difference identities of sine of a plus b, sine of a minus b, and then cosine of a plus b, and cosine of a minus b. So, let's use this information to solve for our tangents. A plus b and tangent of a minus b. So, the first thing we're going to do is to write the equation of the sine and cosines. So, sine of a plus b is going to be sine of a times by cosine of b plus by cosine of a times by sine of b. And then, for sine of a minus b, there's basically everything on the top. Sine of a, cosine b, but we change the plus into minus, cosine of a, and then sine of b. And then, for cosine of a plus b, that's cosine of a times by cosine of b minus by sine of a times by sine of b. And then for cosine of a minus b, that's cosine of a times by cosine of b, and then put our plus by sine of a times by sine of b. So then, what we're going to do to solve for tangent of a plus b is to remember that tangent is equal to sine over cosine. So then, for tangent of a plus b, there's basically sine of a plus b divided by cosine of a plus b. So then, what is our sine of a plus b and cosine of a plus b? Well, we've written it here. So then it's going to be equal to, well, sine of a plus b is everything on the top, sine of a times by cosine of b plus by cosine of a times by sine of b. And then we divide it by our cosine of a plus b, which is everything in here. Cosine of a times by cosine of b minus by sine of a times by sine of b. And then, what if we times it by fraction, and the numerator is going to be 1 over cosine of a times by cosine of b. And then the denominator is also that fraction, 1 over cosine of a times by cosine of b. See, because our numerator and our denominator is the same number, this fraction will be equivalent to 1. And for timesing anything by 1, that is going to be the same. So this is still going to be the same. We're not adding or subtracting the values, but it's going to change its terms. So we're going to simplify it. So then, we're going to distribute it for every term in here. So the first term is going to be this one. So it's going to be sine of a times by cosine of b. And then we're going to multiply it by 1 over cosine a cosine b, which is basically divide by cosine of a times by cosine of b. And then we put in our plus, then cosine a sine b divide by our cosine a cosine b. And then that's for our numerator, and for our denominator, it's going to be cosine a cosine b. And then we're going to divide it by our cosine a cosine b also. So it's going to be divided by cosine a cosine b. And then we're going to put in our minus, and then sine a sine b. And then divide by cosine a cosine b. So then, let's subtract some values here. The cosine of b will cancel out with the cosine of b. The cosine of a will cancel out with the cosine of a. This will cancel out each other. And then, what is sine of a over cosine of a? Well, we've written it in here. tangent is sine over cosine. So sine of A over cosine of A will be tangent of A. And then we put in our plus, and then sine of B over cosine of B. Well, same thing. It's also going to be tangent of B. And then divide by our cosine A, cosine B over cosine A, cosine B. Well, it's going to cross the numerator and the denominator, so it's going to be 1. And then minus by. So, what's sine of A over cosine of A? That's basically tangent of A. And then we're going to times it by our sine of B over cosine B. Sine B cosine B is going to be our tangent of B. And there you go. That is our proof of the tangent of A plus B. And then we can use this equation to solve for our tangent of A minus B. But first, let me just erase some parts over here. Okay, so let's just rewrite our equation. So tangent of A plus by tangent of B over 1 minus tangent of A times by tangent of B. Then, the first thing to consider is our tangent of A plus B. So, if you write in here, tangent of A plus B. But what if our B is changed into negative B? What if our B is now become a negative B? So then, it's going to be equal to tangent of A plus by negative B. So technically, we're using tangent of A plus B because it's A plus by negative B. But because plus and negative cancel out, it's going to be negative. So then, because it's A plus by negative B, we can just use this equation right over here. But we change the B into a negative B. So then, tangent of A plus by tangent of B. Our B is going to be changed into a negative B, right? And then, what about tangent of negative B? What is it equal to? Well, tangent of negative B is going to be equal to negative tangent of B. So it's going to be plus by negative tangent of B. That's going to be basically minus by tangent of B. And then divide by 1 minus tangent of A times tangent of B. But our B will be changed into negative B. And we know that tangent of negative B is negative tangent of B. So then it's going to be negative tangent of A times by negative tangent of B. The negative will cancel out, so it's going to be a positive. So then 1 plus by tangent of A times by tangent of B. And there you go. That's the proof for our tangent of A minus B. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and share this link to your friends. And if you love math, don't forget to check my other videos. Thank you for watching.